Now broadcasting from his hidden bunker and fully stocked bar, it is the Saturday Report with Colt Sebastian Taylor.
Thank you and welcome once again, my friends, to the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, adventurer, entrepreneur, and amateur bronze medal finalist. And welcome to AWSM Radio, the gold medal of independent digital-only radio stations that plays today's best music, old school classics, and we have a rotating cast of all-star DJs. AWSM Radio focuses on mainstream artists, independent artists, along with a variety of interesting talk and music shows throughout the day. All we do is entertain, inspire, and inform. And my friends, I want to engage with you and want you to be part of the conversation, so find me on the Twitter, Instagram, Rizzle, Cameo, at Colt S. Taylor. And if you haven't already, bookmark ColtSebastianTaylor.com for all of your Colt Sebastian Taylor needs, including past episodes of this show. All right, my friends, let's get started with this week's Saturday Report. First up this week, my friends, the Olympics. Yes, they finally got it started after a year delay due to COVID-19. The Olympics started in Tokyo yesterday, actually. I don't have any medal counts for you this week, but I will let you know next week how certain countries are doing. But I have a few stories about the Olympics. First, there's going to be no fans there, as I mentioned last week. They'll basically be competing in empty stadiums. So I mean, Japan spent billions of dollars making these stadiums, and no one's going to actually sit in them and whatnot. And if past Olympics tells us anything from these areas, most of these facilities will fall into disuse and probably be torn down within a decade. That's usually one of the big problems with the Olympics is governments spend a ton of money making Olympic events and venues for the events. And they go, this is a great use of money because we'll be using these forever. And it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. I mean, the only one that I can actually think of is the Los Angeles Coliseum, which was built for the LA Olympics, and they still use that. But other than that, a lot of countries, they just generally don't. Well, anyways, a few more stories out from the Olympics this week. First up, Poland sent some swimmers to the Olympics. But they sent too many, actually. They sent 23 swimmers to the Olympics, but they were only really allowed to send 17. So 6 of them went all the way to Tokyo, Japan, did the Olympic oath, and then had to come back before the ceremony on Friday, the opening ceremony. So real shame. Apparently there was a bit of a miscommunication between the Polish Olympic Committee and the International Olympic Committee, and well, they're very, 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 very angry. One swimmer said this was the result of incompetence of third parties. So that's a bit of a shame there. The entire swim team is demanding the resignation of the Polish Swimming Federation, Paweł Szlamonski. And they're very, very, very upset. They're very upset at that. Also in the Olympics, COVID-19, not competing, although competing for attention. Word came out this week that the United States sent a bunch of athletes over there, and about 100 of them are unvaccinated. They are unvaccinated because they don't trust the jab. So, that's silly, I think. I wonder how many gold medals the United States will not get because someone picked up the COVID-19. Because athletes hanging out with other international athletes, yeah, they're going to be real particular about, maintaining 6 feet distance between each other and staying COVID-free. So I imagine there'll probably be an outbreak at some point in the next 2 weeks. If not, I can only say that they're lucky. But 100 of them are unvaccinated, which, again, silly, my friends. I've got the shot. My family have gotten the other shots. We're all fine. We're not growing 3 arms. There's no microchips in us, so it's fine. Now, also, just to educate you, because I'm all about educating the masses here. Just because you get the COVID-19 vaccine, you can still get COVID-19. It's kind of like the flu shot, okay? You know, you get the flu shot, you can still get the flu. It just isn't as bad. So what does not as bad COVID mean? That means you're unlikely to go to the hospital. You're unlikely to have to be on oxygen. You're unlikely to have 5 or 8 months of lingering symptoms and whatnot. And you're less likely to infect others, okay? It knocks down the chance of you getting infected. But if you do get infected, there's a much better chance you won't be gargling on a ventilator as your family says goodbye through a FaceTime video. So, I don't know, I mean, even the governor of Alabama, okay, Alabama, known for its left-wing politics, Governor Alabama said it's time to start blaming unvaccinated people, okay? So listen, if you've lost the governor of Alabama, or is it Mississippi, one of those two, it's time for you to reassess. Time for you to reassess things. So, anyways, Olympics, got sidetracked there. Olympics started. Summer Olympics finally got off. Tokyo, good job, fellas. No one's gonna be watching it in person, but there'll be a lot of TV coverage and whatnot. So if you like Olympic, you know the gymnastics and the track and field and the javelin and stuff like that, it's your time to watch it. Continuing with sports and COVID-19, the NFL, yes, the NFL, the National Football League, has released guidelines saying that this season there will be no makeup weeks for games that are postponed due to COVID-19 outbreaks. Basically, they're saying that because a lot of football players are not getting vaccines and whatnot, apparently a lot of folks are also part-time virologists in the NFL. They're saying they're not getting the shot because it's their choice, and if you're vaccinated and I'm not vaccinated, what's the big deal? Etc., etc. Well, the NFL says, all right, well, if there's a COVID-19 outbreak on a team, and that team cannot play that week, here's what's going to happen. If you have a bye week, we'll reschedule it. If you don't, then the team that, had the outbreak forfeits the game, and you lose the game. And that week, when you don't play, no one gets paid. Not on the team that has the COVID-19 outbreak, not on the other team. No one gets paid. Them be the rules, friends. So, I would imagine, if I had to guess, that will probably motivate some players to get the little jabby jab going on there. So, just not a terrible idea. I mean, once you start throwing money around, I'm sure they're very well researched and principled stances on vaccines will be just a little modified so they can get paid. Basically the rules are you can still get COVID-19 if you have the vaccine, although the chances are less. But if you're vaccinated, you just need a negative test within 24 hours and whatnot. If you are unvaccinated, 10-day isolation. So, come on, fellers, get your act together, be role models for the rest of us. Continuing with sports, since it's Olympic weekend, I figured I'd do some sports stories this week. The Norwegians women's beach handball team was fined 150 euros each for 1,500 euros, that's 10 players, for wearing improper clothing. Like, oh my goodness, what were they wearing that they got fined 150 euros? Shorts. Shorts. Yes, apparently in the rules of the European Handball Federation, women have to wear bikini bottoms to play beach handball. The men do not. They could wear shorts. I don't know if they are allowed to wear, I guess it's optional, bikini bottoms for men, but women have to wear bikini bottoms. And the Norwegian women's handball team said, no, That seems, no, we're going to wear shorts because it's more comfortable and we want to wear shorts. So they got fined by it. I think, I mean, it's obviously a wee bit sexist. Yeah, if you're going to play this sport, you have to wear bikini bottoms. Yeah. So, anyways, this got a lot of support from Norwegians and whatnot that the team paid their fines, so the players didn't have to pay. But yeah, so this is kind of a little bit of an issue here that they feel like they should be able to wear the uniform that's suitable to perform their sport. And, they've been complaining about the bikini bottom requirement since 2006, and nothing has come about it, so they decided to wear shorts and see what would happen. They got fined, but they got a lot of support from various organizations that, they supported this decision. I just think it's silly. Personally, I mean, it is 2021, so, making bikini bottoms a requirement for a sport kind of seems a wee bit silly. So I would say that what an appropriate rule would be that both men and women both have the choice to wear bikini bottoms or shorts. I think would be the most equitable thing to do. Fun fact, I don't know what handball is. I had to go look that up. I had a vague idea, but I had to look it up and see what exactly it was. And my vague idea was close, but not very close. It's kind of, well, they play it with a ball in their hand, and they have to run around and throw it into a goal. They can only hold the ball for 3 seconds. They can only take 3 steps. You're not allowed to knock the ball out of someone's hand. You can only block it and catch it, I guess. So it's actually looks like a very intense sport. And of course, I believe it is also an Olympic sport. But friends, I'll tell you, it doesn't matter if he's wearing shorts, a bikini bottom, or nothing at all. The very best of DJs is here on AWSM Radio. Even if he's going commando, it's my pal DC. He has a show here called DC Live in Effect, and he is our in-house DJ here at AWSM Radio. He is mixing it up every Friday night at 9 p.m., every Sunday night at 10 p.m. You, my friends, do not want to miss out while he smashes it on the ones and twos, kicking the beat from his South Florida handball beach court. You do not want to miss out. It's a great, great show. He's a great guy. He does really good work. As a DJ, he is amazing. Also, an amazing pal of mine. So, catch my pal, DC, live in effect, Fridays at 9 p.m., Sundays at 10 p.m., right here on AWSM Radio. Moving along, do you use Uber, Lyft, one of those ride-sharing apps? Well, on Thursday, in some cities last week, you might have had a hard time getting a Lyft or an Uber because many drivers were doing a 24-hour strike because they feel that because of the pandemic and other situations, that ride-sharing app that they've joined is a whole lot less profitable than it was and a whole lot less safe. So they decided to go on strike. A group of them called Rideshare Drivers United is an LA-based labor group made up of drivers from Lyft and Uber and other gig economy and whatnot, but basically those ones. They would like to see better working conditions, and they would like to organize and unionize as well. They feel like they're being taken a wee bit advantage of. This year, the PRO, which is short for Protecting the Right to Organize Act, was passed by the U.S. House and would extend protections for workers seeking to unionize and ban some tactics that employers use to stop union organization. And it's hoped to overturn the Taft-Hartley Act, so-called as the Right to Work laws in 28 states. So it's actually a pretty big idea. It's the most significant workers' rights protection since the original National Labor's Relation Act of 1935, according to some commentators. So Lyft and Uber said, this wasn't a big deal. We didn't see any disruptions. I mean, if they did, do you think they would have said? Probably not. But, yeah, this Thursday you might have a hard time getting a Lyft or an Uber somewhere because they were going on strike, at least somewhere. I'm sure some folks were taking advantage of it by scooping up fares and whatnot. But watch this space. The union attempt at an Amazon warehouse failed earlier this year. But Uber and Lyft drivers may make a go at it. They may become unionized. We shall see. Speaking of rights of people here, Congress recently voted to pass a law following an executive order by President Biden, the so-called right to repair devices and whatnot. Many device manufacturers make it almost impossible or hard to fix devices or provide services to improve devices, forcing people to discard them and then buy new ones. I mean, Apple is rather notorious for that. I mean, you can't access its battery or anything like that. You can only take it to Apple stores to be fixed. And a lot of times, the amount of money it takes to fix these at the Apple stores, you might as well spend an extra $100 and get a brand new device. Well, the Federal Trade Commission voted to increase its fight against these restrictions and whatnot, and yeah, they're pushing forward to this, the so-called idea of right to repair. It hurt a lot of independent repair shops. They can't have access to the materials they need to repair things. It creates a lot of unnecessary electronic waste. All this making it harder to repair things makes it longer to repair and more costly. And it's just not something that has to be a thing. It doesn't have to be a thing. It's the only way to put more money in big tech's pockets. So I am glad to see this is happening, and I hope this is a continuing trend to make devices much more easier to fix by repair shops. And why I can understand why companies did this, but I would say the party's over. Party's over, friends. Way over. Moving along to Dippin' Dots. Have you had Dippin' Dots? Those frozen ice cream little dot thingies and whatnot? I have. They're not too bad and whatnot. Well, at a Dippin' Dots factory, 10 people were injured in an explosion at the Kentucky Dippin' Dots factory. Whoa, what happened? Is this a new experiment in the science of Dippin' Dots gone awry? No, it hasn't. It's actually just you're not typical, but it was an industrial accident, basically. 10 people were hospitalized, 9 have been released, 1 is still in there recovering from their injuries. Basically what happened is they were unloading liquid nitrogen, which is, I believe, what they use to freeze the ice cream in those little balls. They use liquid nitrogen, and there was an explosion, and they're not exactly sure what happened there and whatnot. This place isn't where they make the ice cream, but the ingredients they use to make the ice cream at another place. This is where this sort of organized and put together. Anyways, no one died, fortunately, and I'm sure they'll be investigating it to find out what exactly went wrong here. But yeah, you don't usually think of nitrogen explosion at Dippin' Dots factory. Not something that pops up on a regular basis. But fortunately, 9 of the 10, according to Dippin' Dots CEO Scott Fisher, have been released from the hospital, and they're taking care of the other one that is still in there. So I don't know what kind of explosion. I mean, nitrogen is not explosive per se, but liquid nitrogen is very dangerous. I think we all remember the T-1000 walking through liquid nitrogen and then freezing, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger said, "Hasta la vista, baby." And then he went, he exploded. So, but I don't think that happened to any of these employees. They'll be back, getting the ingredients together for Dippin' Dots soon. Speaking of explosions, You may remember at the end of June last month in Los Angeles, police were going to a house where they confiscated some illegal fireworks. Actually, 32,000 pounds of fireworks. And then they were loading it into their bomb squad sort of container. So when they find a suspicious device that they want to take out of an area, they put in this big steel container. They can either drive it out of the area or detonate it in there, and the steel container will catch all the evidence and keep it from damaging other areas. Well, on June 30th, this thing blew up. It blew up the container. I think destroyed the truck it was on, and injured quite a few people. It injured 6 bystanders, 10 police officers, and an ATF agent. It also caused damage to 22 homes, 13 businesses, and 37 vehicles. Like, significant damage. It was a big explosion that blew this out. Well, obviously, that's not the intention of that to do that. There was a lot of... they had to do an investigation, obviously. And it turns out it was human error. They basically miscalculated how much that container could handle. And they basically loaded too much in there. They were going to do a controlled explosion because some of the illegal fireworks were leaking materials. And they thought it would be a little dangerous to transport it through the town, through LA. It might go off. So, okay, we'll put it in there. We'll blow up some of it. And then we'll clear it out and put more in there and blow up. Well, they put too much in there. And it exceeded its rated capacity. They thought they were putting 16 pounds of fireworks in there to blow up. They put 42 pounds in there. They put a lot in there. The container can only handle about 25 pounds. And they almost doubled the amount of fireworks they put in there that it could handle. So they kind of miscalculated how much stuff they were putting in there. Hence, the explosion. People got hurt. Damage to businesses. I don't believe anyone was killed in it, from what I'm reading, but some people were pretty messed up by it because shrapnel went everywhere and it was a booming explosion. So if you have a chance to pop onto YouTube, you should check it out because it was quite the explosion. But now they figured out why. Someone apparently on the LA bomb squad really bad measuring and weighing things. So he'll probably be demoted as they do a complete review, according to the person in charge of this, a complete review of the LA bomb squad procedures, protocols, make sure everyone is on the same bomb page. Do you know who else brings the boom? It doesn't even matter if it's close to the 4th of July or not. It's my pal Rox, the beautiful, talented, fantastic heartbreaker. She breaks many men's hearts, and rightfully so. My pal Rox, she has the Rock Sessions, is a drive time show that she's going to make sure your evening commute home is fun. She plays the hottest music on the charts and some other surprises in between. She will make it rock style. You want Monday? I'll give you Monday. Tuesday? I'll give you Tuesday. In fact, I'll give you Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. She's on 5 days of the week, all weekdays, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Check out the Rock Sessions right here on AWSM Radio. She's really fantastic. You really should. So, if you don't do it, I won't be mad. I'll just be disappointed. Next up, my friends, life expectancy. Last year fell by 1.5 years overall, the largest drop since World War II. Why? You may have guessed COVID-19. So last year, more than 3.3 million Americans died, more than any other year in U.S. history. COVID-19 accounted for about 11% of those deaths. and it affected different parts of the population differently and whatnot. The life expectancy amongst African Americans had not fallen so much in 1 year since the mid-1930s. Health officials have not tracked, apparently, Latino life expectancy, but they've only tracked it since 2005. But it was the largest 1 year drop in the 15 years it has been tracked. According to Mark Hayward, a University of Texas sociology professor who studies the changes in U.S. mortality, he called it basically a catastrophe. Go figure. So other than COVID-19, drug overdoses played a role in the decrease, especially amongst the Caucasian population. Rising homicides were a small but significant reason for the decline in African American life expectancies. And then another problem that this study has found is that the lack of access to quality health care and more crowded living conditions, especially amongst Black and Latino populations, who also have the greater share of low-paying jobs that require them to be working during the pandemic, also played a heavy factor during that decrease of life expectancy. So just for a bit of historical note and whatnot, last year's drop of 1.5 was just half of the 3-year drop between 1942 and 1943 life expectancy. That dropped by 3 years when young soldiers were dying in World War II. And between 1917 and 1918, the life expectancy dropped even more in America because of World War I and the flu pandemic that devastated younger generations and whatnot. So, according to this study, African American life expectancy is now 71 years and 10 months, which has not been that low since 2000. White life expectancy fell 14 months to about 77 years and 7 months. And then also the gap between men and women also became larger. There was a 2-year drop for men, but 1 year for women. So the life expectancy of men is 74 years and 6 months, whereas women are now at 80 years and 2 months. So life expectancy in the United States has continuously gone up over the last decade or so. Has stalled out a few times, but has had an upward trend. But this is the biggest decrease they've seen in quite a while, and it's going to take a few years to get back on track in terms of longer and healthier life expectancy. So I thought that was very, very interesting. So according to this, I've got, let's see here, how much I've got. Another 40 plus years of Saturday reports with Colt Sebastian Taylor. If I do 52 a year, we'll just say 50 a year. 2,000 more episodes of the Saturday Report with Colt Sebastian Taylor. Oh boy, I got a lot of talking to do. Next, friends, we go to tech news. Let me give you a bit of some education here. Have you ever heard of the term called link rot? Okay, I'm not talking about Link from Legend of Zelda being a nasty person, but I'm talking about links on websites, link rot. So the concept is that you, as a website provider or website owner, should check your links, make sure the links are still active. 5, 8 years from now, the thing you're linking to may no longer exist, and your link is now dead. And it hurts your search engine optimization, hurts your rankings. It's something that just hurts how a website is seen on search engines. Also, you should be mindful about third-party things you put on your website. Like, obviously, most people aren't a web developer, so they're not going to upload and make their own video player. They're going to embed, like YouTube, or if you're on my website, ColtSebastianTaylor.com, there's an embedded radio player in there that you can play the shows. But you need to be mindful of those things, because sometimes those experience link rot also. So For about 4 or 5 years, there was a YouTube competitor called VidMe. And a lot of news outlets used VidMe videos to spice up their online articles with related videos about the story they were writing about. Well, VidMe went out of business in 2017. But they, I guess, they stopped making it available, whatnot, but these embedded videos remained in all these articles. Sometimes they played, sometimes they didn't. It's 2021, etc., etc. Who's going to go back and look at an article from 2016 about John Bonner being the Speaker of the House of the United States? No one. However, a slight wrinkle happened. Someone bought the domain, the VidMe domain, and then they could now have access to all these embedded code in websites. Who bought the VidMe domain? 5-star high-definition porn. Yes, a pornography company, a porn video company, bought the domain, and so hardcore, graphic, uncensored pornography were appearing in places like the Washington Post, the New York Times, Vice News, The Verge, The Atlantic, basically places you wouldn't expect to find graphic, uncensored, hardcore pornography. Although, from what I understand, tasteful, as pornography goes. But, yeah. So, all of these companies didn't know this, because they don't get alerts like, hey, your videos are no longer this, until people are hearing reports like, hey, why are you showing porn on this old article? And then to go through all of these news articles and remove and disable the embedded video on these news stories. So there was they were on the New York Magazine, the Huffington Post, The Verge. Oh my goodness, it was pretty funny. This has also happened when President Trump was booted from Twitter. A lot of news stories embed his tweets into their stories, and now these embedded tweets are now blank. They're just no longer available. They're whatnot. So the concept of link rot and making sure embedded things in your content is active and whatnot. It's something, as a website owner, it's something I check from time to time. And if you own a website and you post things on there, it's something you should probably check on a regular basis. Also, or you might have hardcore pornography on your website. Like, if you own your own website, if you go to ColtSebastianTaylor.com, there's 20 pages on there, okay? I could go through all 20 pages and find whether there's an issue. But, the New York Magazine, The Verge, and Washington Post, they had thousands of stories that, thousands of stories that they had to go through and remove pornography from. So, wouldn't you know it? Pro tip, if you're using something that is no longer being supported or it goes out of business, spend a little time, pop on over and maybe remove that code from your website, friends. Speaking of uncensored, hot, off the presses content, you need to be listening to our new sports show here on AWSM Radio, Married to the Game, broadcasting every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Brian, Joe, and Mac Daddy they're going to bring their insights, analytics, and expertise to the table on all the games. And my friends, listen, what kind of sports show would it be without some hot, heavy trash talking? Ooh, this promo got much more erotic than I intended it to be. So anyways, before things get too heated, I will wrap up. Tune in and catch up on the week of all things sports on Married to the Game on AWSM Radio. Follow them on Instagram, the show at MTTG, the initials of the show, Married to the Game Radio. Follow Brian at bolstered_up_sports. Nick at Mac Daddy Ryan Show, and then Joe at Turn Up the Jets. Married to the Game, Wednesdays at 9 p.m. right here on AWSM Radio. Next up, folks, we go to student debt. Yes, that's right. Senator Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts is calling on President Joe Biden to use an executive order to cancel $50,000 of debt, school debt from federal student loans to each American who has them. Right now, they're calling on a pause in loan payments until March of 2022. Right now, they are paused to the end of September of 2021, so that it would be about 2 months from now. Yeah, about 2 months from now. But they're calling for it to cancel $50,000 worth of debt, which would be, according to Elizabeth Warren, be a generational change. Be really, really amazing. And it would help a lot of people. A lot of people, 40%, according to the studies, 40% of student loan borrowers who do not have a college diploma are struggling hard with this debt. And also, the statement goes on to say that it's going to give a lot of public school teachers, firefighters, and other public employees who have these heavy student loans a chance to get out there and start their own business or whatnot. So I do not have any student debt to my name at all. It worked out well for me. I am in the minority. A lot of folks are out there saying, I had student debt and I paid it off. Why give these kids a free ride? They should blah, 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 blah. Anyway, personally, that's a selfish, stupid thing to say. That's like saying, well, I got through growing up avoiding polio. Why should we give polio vaccines to these kids? They have it too easy. It's just, what your life was harder, obviously, than these young folks. So, just so we're on the same page here, you want their lives to be hard as well? Whatnot? And what do you think people are going to do with, if you reduce debts by $50,000, they're going to have more money that's not going to these loans. What do you think they're going to do with that money, friends? They're just going to burn it in the backyard? No. They're going to buy things. Buy things that you are selling or services that you offer there, okay? So a lot of people put off home repairs, major purchases, upgrading of, appliances because they don't have the money. That money is going towards various loans and whatnot. So if they cancel school debt, which is burdening a lot of folks, and it's something they can do, it's going to help everyone. It will. And what about the debt? Well, you know what? If corporate America can get tax cuts and whatnot, if the richest people in the United States can reap the benefit from changes in tax codes so they can keep more money, I think just a guess here, my friends. I think we can also do that for everyone else. All the peons on the lower rungs for the school debt. And if you need money, well, golly, maybe, just maybe, we roll back some of those tax cuts for, multi-billion-dollar people and whatnot, and help, the folks trying to rub two nickels together to make things work out. Okay? I don't have any school debt. This does not bother me whatsoever. I know lots of people who do, and this would be a great thing for them. Okay? We spend so much money on other things. This will be a good thing to spend money on. So, you have the Colt Sebastian Taylor pith helmet of approval to go forward with this, because obviously you needed that to be comfortable with it. And finally this week, my friends, just a reminder to all of you, Hyundai. Never buy a used Hyundai. That's right, friends. I didn't forget. Ooh, Hyundai. Well, my friends, that just about wraps up the Side Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, or as the kids say, the TSR with CST. All the kids are saying it. Thank you for joining me here today. Remember, you can find me on the Twitter, on the Rizzle, on the Cameo, on the Instagram at Colt S. Taylor. If you think I'm missing a story or got something wrong or just want to tell me how handsome I am, I'm always available. And of course, if you haven't done it already, by the end of the show, bookmark ColtSebastianTaylor.com, where past episodes will be uploaded as well as my other adventures. You should really just check it like every week. I think it's well worth the visit. Well, my friends, until next time, I am, of course, as always, your friend, Colt Sebastian Taylor, and I will see you later, right here on AWSM Radio.